Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today I want to talk a little bit about ways in which you can supplement your salary income. Now, of course, we always talk about having additional income streams, but sometimes it's really difficult because you are probably in a 9-to-5. It's hectic, and there's just not enough time in the day or in the month or in the week for you to take on a job that has the same or similar type of requirements in terms of time commitment. So I want to give you guys some ideas of things that you can do to still supplement your salary that are not going to take a lot of time from you or are not at the same level as, of course, the job that you already have. Now, you must remember that because of the effort that you are putting in, the output that is going to come out, the result that's going to come out, is obviously also not going to be an income as big as or in comparison to your actual salary. So this is just ways in which you can supplement your already existing salary income. Now, do remember, none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are, however, looking for financial advice, please remember you need to speak to somebody who's certified and registered with the FSCA to give you financial advice. So this comes from the back of the conversation I had with one of my coaching clients. So I do financial coaching. I'll leave the link in the comment or in the caption where you can make an appointment to see me for an hour. And we really go and emphasize on building your money management skills. So things like your budgeting, things like making sure that you've got a disposable income so that you can follow a financial plan that is put together by a certified financial planner. That is now you being able to have the money to buy or contribute towards a retirement, a life insurance, an income protection, a medical aid, all of those financial products that are part of your risk mitigation plus your wealth building strategy. You cannot do those things if you do not manage your money correctly so that you do have some money left at the end of the month after you've done all of the things that you need to do. So that's very important. So anyway, this lady has been my client for the last 3 years. First 2 years we're doing very well. She set up an appointment with me and we sat down. We worked through her entire money management and she was just on point with everything. She had her risk mitigation strategy, so she was doing really well. But I guess life happens to people. She was saving up to put a down payment on buying a home, which she successfully did, and I'm very proud of her. But then she went and bought a car. She did say she wanted to buy a car, but the cars that we had discussed are not the cars that she went to go and buy. So she went and bought something a little bit more expensive, and she would have been fine if the interest rate had not been increased so many times. So it got increased. She then had the good sense to come back to me and say, Nicolette, I've done this. I've bought a car that I could not really afford. And the interest rate being increased, I'm actually feeling like I'm under pressure. So if I look at her budget again, she's able to pay for everything every single month, but she's only left with 43 Rand every single month. Now, it's not a good space to be in. So I then suggested her supplementing her income because when I looked at everything, she is on the basic package of DSTV. She has somebody that she lives with in her house, so she can't actually reduce grocery. She's already not, we haven't even factored entertainment onto her budget, her new budget. So a lot of the things that she's paying for, she needs for everyday, life. So it's actually her real living expenses, her debts that she needs to pay for. Again, that disposable income that she had was literally chowed up by the fact that the interest rate got increased. So these are some of the things that I then suggested to her to try and bolster or at least supplement her income. The first one is freelance work. So what is freelance work? She needs time, obviously, to be able to do freelance work. Freelance work is work that is not tied down by an employment contract. So you're not fully employed by the company that you're working for. It's this thing of we're part of the gig economy. So you can literally work for anybody across the globe, across the, different time zones. Essentially, you get given a little project and you need to execute the project on your own fully. And it is dependent, of course, on your skills. So you could be a freelancer that's a graphic designer. You could be a freelancer that's maybe putting together an ebook for somebody. You could be a freelancer that is doing research for someone. So there's quite a number of freelancing work. Some people are freelancers and they're photographers or videographers. Some people are social media community managers. So freelance work is basically somebody employing you outside of the employment, basic employment act. Is it called an act? Yes. So you are being, it's like a gig, it's like operating within the gig economy. So where do you find freelance work? So there's a website called Fiverr where you can check. There's one that I've used before and I love using. It's called www.upwork.com. I love Upwork. That's where I found people who are graphic designers there, writers. I found editors there. I found translators. So you find all sorts of different freelancers there. Then there's one called it's called People Per Hour, and then there's also freelancer.com. So try out any one of those: Fiverr, Upwork, freelancer.com, or People Per Hour. That's where you will find freelance work. Of course, I would suggest that you look at the type of freelance work that is within your expertise. So if you are a graphic designer, that's probably something that you can look into. Or you could also learn a new skill. YouTube is the university of the world. You can literally learn any skill on YouTube. And then you can take that new skill that you've learned and actually go and apply it in terms of finding freelance work. Speaking about YouTube, it's not the only way in which you can learn a new skill. So for instance, I've got a friend who has a course. His name is Richmond Sajini, and he's got a course on how do you actually price your work, as a digital creator. How do you price your work? And basically, it's a course that he's put up on Udemy, and you can actually pay to enroll in his course. So he makes money from people enrolling in that course. There's also Corsa. It's COURSESA. So also there you can put some work. There's another one called, as I've mentioned, Udemy. There's Skills Portal. So there's quite a number of these places where you can create an online course and then upload your online course, and then people will pay to be able to take up your course, right? You make passive income because once the course is done, basically, anybody can enroll in it and you get paid every time someone enrolls in it. Of course, the platform that you are using is going to take a certain percentage, but it's not a huge percentage. And especially if you don't have to redo the course every single time somebody takes it up. Of course, it is important for you to go up there and update your course as things change in the industry or statistics change or data changes, just to keep your course updated and refreshed. And maybe you want to add on additional things and then even change price. You can do that, add more scope into your course, and then you can change the price. So again, that's something that you can do. The next one is, of course, being an influencer. You need to build a formidable following. And a formidable following is not always about numbers. It's about influence. There are people who are influencers, and then there are influential people in a specific space or in a specific niche. I always say pick a niche. It's very important to pick a niche, because if you pick a niche, then people know if they are doing, let's say there's a campaign on HIV, it's a World AIDS Day, and they want to do a campaign on HIV and AIDS. They know exactly who to look for, so don't find yourself being too general because you're trying to fit in anyway. The problem with that is that there are too many people who are also general, so you are not top of mind. I know for a fact that even if brands are not selecting to use me, but if they're looking for the top 10 financial influencers in the country, I am probably one of those top influencers, right? Because I've picked a niche in terms of financial education, and that's what I do. But if they're looking for like women empowerment, I can speak on women empowerment topics, but I'm not top 10 because it's not my niche, you know what I mean? And I'm probably competing with a whole lot more people who are far more skilled in that space. So it's important to pick a niche so that you are top of mind when an event or a campaign like that comes up. The second thing you can do is if you are a person who wants to just put out content and be just a numbers person, there's also campaigns where reach is far more important, and numbers are far more important, and engagement is far more important to the clients. So in that case, you become like a Sunday Times. Now, Sunday Times is not an expert on specific subject matter. It's a media platform, right? So what brands do is that they put their ads in a Sunday Times, a City Press, or a Daily Sun because of the numbers and the reach that it's got. It's different when you start going financial mail, because financial mail is a niched a media platform. But the likes of Sunday Times, City Press, so your dailies, your Sunday, your weekend press, those are more for numbers. So you have to decide the type of influencer you are. Are you an influential person who is a subject matter expert or an expertise, and you're building expertise in a specific subject? Or are you trying to be an influencer that has numbers and reach and engagement, and your audiences are always engaged to the stuff that you're putting out? It doesn't have to be subject specific. So you got to choose which type of influencer you want to be, or content creator rather. I think content creator is probably a better word than influencer, right? The next one is a podcaster. Again, it falls under the realm of content creation. I like podcasting because I think it's one of the easiest things. With the likes of ChatGPT now, it's very easy to put together a podcast script. Obviously, you've still got to make it your own podcast script. So don't go and literally parrot what ChatGPT pushes out for you. You've got to still put in your voice into it. You've got to still have your own examples. And maybe if you want to make it even more interesting, is invite people that you have conversations with. Now, guys, you can podcast on anything under the sun. You can elections are coming up in at the end of, is it next year? Elections are coming up next year. You could start a podcast on elections right now. I promise you, campaigns are going to fall in your lap, right? But also, for instance, I don't do a lot of campaigns on my podcast. So if I'm going to interview brands, for instance, I never really make them pay to come onto my podcast. But I know that the platform that I'm using, which is called Buzzsprout, you can actually get Buzzsprout to put ads on your podcast. So there's a part there where it's called monetization, and you can monetize your podcast, and they will send you ads that you can then choose. So that the reason why I use Buzzsprout, because it's easy. You literally upload on one platform, which is Buzzsprout, and then what they do is they're going to go and disseminate to the likes of Apple, the likes of Spotify, the likes of Google Podcasts, Deezer, so all sorts of different podcasting or streaming platforms rather. If you want to get the premium, there is a membership fee that you pay, but you can actually go on the free plan and never ever have to pay anything, and you can still make your money. They've got another cool thing. It's called Podcorn, where you can actually also put out your podcast for sponsorship proposals. So they will go out there and look for sponsorship. So they'll have brands that want to sponsor podcasts, and they will match your podcast with a suitable brand. The other one is called Iono. I think Iono is I don't know if it's a South African brand, but Iono basically is where a lot of our radio stations put their podcasts. So they host their podcasts also on Iono. And again, Iono will also disseminate to the likes of Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whichever iHeart, that media group that's in America called iHeart. So podcasting can make you money. It's not going to make you a lot of money, especially if you're starting. But for instance, you could find yourself that you've got a very good podcast, and brands are now paying you to actually do some podcasts for them on your platform. So I think it's quite an interesting one because it's really easy to go into podcasting. For instance, I think I pay less than $1,500 to get my podcast recorded and designed with music, with all of those jingles and all of the stuff that my editor puts into. But that's because I've built a relationship with him. But you can do this yourself, guys. You don't even need to get somebody doing it for you. The reason why I use him is because him and I have a good relationship. We know each other. We've worked with each other before, and I know that he's going to deliver a solid product for me. But when you're starting out, you can even record on your own phone. You don't need to record with fancy mics and all all of those things. So podcasting is definitely one way to go. As I said, it's not going to make you huge amounts of money. It's a way to supplement your income. And I will always say, speak on subject matters where you've got stories to tell. Storytelling goes a long way in podcasting. You don't just want to feed people facts. You also want to give them stories and examples, lived examples that you know what you're talking about. It's something that you've done before. The next one is online surveys or paid market research, right? When I was still starting out and working, I needed to supplement my income. So I joined a company called Brand Surgeon. And I know that they're still there. And Brand Surgeon, basically what they do is they do research on behalf of brands. So I know the last one that I saw that got sent to me was they were looking for people who use public transport. Sometimes they're looking for people who pay their own insurance. So it's very random. It's when brands go to these guys and they say, look, we're trying to get a bit of a market study on our different markets, people who make decisions. So look into that. The one company I do remember for fact is called Brand Surgeon. I know there's another company called Nielsen also that does that kind of stuff. Then there's another one, it's Green Man. I forgot the name, but I'll put it on screen for you guys to be able to see. That's another company that I worked for years ago. But they didn't only just do like location brand research types of surveys. They also would send people to in-store. So you'd be like a mystery shopper in a shop, right? So they'll send you to like maybe all the spas in your area. And they pay you like 400 Rand per spa that you go to, you know, and you become a mystery shopper just to see what if the guys that are on the floor know the product and understand the product and can explain the product to customers. So you'll be like a mystery shopper and you'll ask questions and then you record what the answers are. It does take a little bit of work because you need to record answers, you know, you need to actually make it there. So, but if you are looking to supplement your income, it's something that you can do on weekends. It's not something that you have to do all the time, right? The next one that I would think about is, as I said, creating an online course. Did I speak about creating an online course? Find a subject that you really, really enjoy, something that you're good at. With the likes of ChatGPT now, you can literally put together an online course very, very fast and very quickly. But I would suggest that do something that you've got experience in. Maybe do an online course on your actual job that you do. If you're in sales, maybe put together an online course on negotiation or how to sell. You know what I mean? Those things always actually work out because it's something that you've got experience in and you've got lived experience. I think that's very, very important. The next one is creating media spaces. As my lips are very dry, I'm so sorry, I keep touching them. Creating media spaces. So what is creating media spaces? When I was still working in the advertising world, we got introduced to wall murals. It was something that we never even thought about. So we would put our brands or clients of ours on wall murals. But then I went and had a conversation. The guys were called Keys Communications, right? It was Kabelo Kale and his wife who started this company. And it was quite interesting what they did because all they did is they went into popular townships and they went and found families or homes that had walls that were facing major routes. So for instance, they'll go into a Soweto and they will look for, you know, homes that have walls that are either facing bus routes or they are facing markets and all of that. And they will hire out the wall from the family and they'll pay the family like 5,000 Rand every single month to hire it. They'll paint it white to make it ready as a canvas. And basically then they will go and sell that as a media space. So they were creating media spaces. People also do this in taxis. There was the guys who were putting out taxi TV. Then there's the guys who also added on Wi-Fi. So what they're doing now that's really cool is that the guys with the walls now are actually making the walls Wi-Fi hotspots. So basically, if let's say, for instance, Vodacom, Vodacom is an easy one. Let's say, for instance, Pep stores hire out these walls. You'll hire out the wall, and then what they'll do is they'll put a hotspot on that wall, right? So a person will come there and they'll use, and most of the youngsters will then start hanging around that wall because it's got Wi-Fi, right? And then you log in. The first ad that you see is another Pep store ad, you know? Or it's like a little questionnaire on Pep store. And then that is how it unlocks the megabytes that you are able to use as part of your Wi-Fi. So this was really cool for me. And I thought, you know what, there's so many other things that can become media spaces. People are using their cars as media spaces. People are using dustbins as media spaces. I was even thinking, if you go to government, for instance, and you you propose this to government, it can actually be a good way to also upkeep government infrastructure. You know what I mean? So I think creating media spaces is quite a good one. The next one I want to speak about is voices for African radio stations or African language stations. So when I was, again, early in my career, I had an opportunity to go and audition for being a radio voice for Josie FM. And I was actually doing some of Josie FM's adverts. Now, it wasn't, because these are community radio stations, they don't have big budgets, or they can't charge clients big budgets. In fact, my first ad, I think, was for Decophone. And I was selling Decophone. And I was going, bed, one double bed, $3.99. But the thing is, you get paid like 3,000 Rand just for your voice. I mean, it's something that you're not really making a huge effort in. It's your voice. They give you a script. You read the script, gets recorded. That ad gets produced for client, and client pays the radio station. Do you get what I'm saying? So they don't have big budgets to hire like big talents like the likes of your DJ Fresh and the notable voices. So often they use ordinary people's voices. So the radio station will sell the ad and the production of the ad to a client. So they sell them airtime on the radio station, and then you come in and they give you a script and you record it and basically get paid for it. And there's many radio stations. I mean, in Joburg, community radio stations are many. There's the likes of your Kasi FM. There's the likes of Josie FM. There are so many. I can't even think of them at the top of my mind. But I remember when I was still doing media buying for radio stations, there were I think we had over 50 community radio stations across South Africa. So there's a lot of community radio stations that you really can tap in. Campus radio stations, the UJFMs of this world, the Tux FM of this world, Turf Loop Radio, Radio Turf. So there's quite a number of them. So again, that's another way in which you can supplement your income. The next one is delivery services. If you are keen, you can put your car into the likes of Uber Eats or Bolt Food. I know Bolt also got a version of the Bolt Food. Uber Eats also has Uber packages. So even if you don't want to maybe transport people, you can transport packages, or you can do food. You can even sign yourself up to only do weekends. So it doesn't have to always be during the week where you are actually working and you don't want to, take out time from your work or your children or whatever. So you could do it only on weekends. Then the last one I speak about is, of course, selling items online. Guys, I go to Takealot, right? I go to Takealot for my books. So I only sell my books now. But when I got to Takealot the first time, so when I had a team, people used to go for me to Takealot. So I wasn't going to Takealot myself. In fact, for the first 2 or 3 years of me being on Takealot, I never actually went to an actual Takealot. This year, I don't have a team anymore that goes to Takealot for me, so I have to go there by myself, right? And I was very shocked at the things people are selling everything and anything on Takealot. They're selling ingubo, blankets, duvets, medical equipment. They're selling plastic flowers. They're selling generators. Brushes. I mean, they're selling everything. I actually the other day bought a combo of wig glue, wig remover, a cap, and a brush. And somebody had packaged those things. I mean, it's convenient. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was just convenience that they were selling. And people love sitting on Takealot and just buying things from Takealot. So I was like, this is quite cool. So you could obviously set up something with your Chinese suppliers, your AliExpress, Alibaba, all of those people, and you can basically get those things into the country. Obviously, look at how much it's going to cost you for customs before you get them. Or you can sometimes even just go to Chinatown, those places, and just go stock up on really cool things and list them on Takealot, guys. It really is not that difficult. I promise you, it's not that difficult. But there are also other marketplaces. There's marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace. I know Instagram's now also got a marketplace. You can literally sell everything. Now, if you don't have an idea of what you think you can sell, look in your own home. The things that you've already bought that you don't want anymore, you can sell those. In fact, Sell things for your older siblings. Like, I was thinking about it and I was like, my little sister, if she were to come to my house and she's like, Nicolette, some of these things you don't use, can I sell them for you? And then I take 50%. I will say yes, because one, she's helping me declutter my house, because I have a lot of like useless things in my home that I want somebody to come here and say, Nicolette, can I sell these things for you? Because there's so many of them. And I'm like, oh, guys, I've got like 4 couches that I need someone to sell, but I'm just lazy to take pictures and list. And I have a whole car I want to sell, but I'm lazy to go and sell it. Like, this is literally my life, you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of people who are like me, who, even in your family, your siblings, your parents, and remember, when they bought those things, they wanted them, which means that there is a market for people who want those things that are in their homes, and some people do want it cheaper. So you can list on places like your Gumtrees. So there's a lot of places where you can list these things. You can even just sell on WhatsApp. People just buy things even on WhatsApp. This video is becoming too long, so I'm going to leave here. I'll come back with more ideas of how you can supplement your income. Please remember, none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who's certified and registered with the FSCA. The way I'm supplementing my income this year, I'm opening up a shop. I'm selling makeup. I'm developing a new gin. I'm going into animation. Guys, this is our time. It's our time to make our money. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you guys on the next one.